We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how can birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tăng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Thịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liễu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đắc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Alahadi Samyao Sanputosye. Namo Dangdakta Toya Daya Alahadi Tamyo Tamboda Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu, wo jin jie wen de shou qi, yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all monks and nuns, and all good advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大师、师父上人、各位持者人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Quốc sư, Hòa thượng Thiên Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, thank you all for coming. Today is the 17th of December 2021. Oh, less than 2 days left till year end. And we are here at Wei Mountain Temple to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay. We're on slide 13 and door number 1. He's talking about these profound principles contained in this sutra here. This is the kind of transcendental wisdom that worldly people have no idea, have no clues what they're about, including us Buddhists who have some experience, some wisdom, some kung fu, if you will, really have no clues at all about this. This is a state of what the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas know about. And so this is a very profound Buddhist principles that the scholars of other religions have no idea of. I mean, for example, the Catholics, the Christians, they borrow from our 5 precepts to talk about morality, because morality is the foundation of their religion as well. So you look at their 10 commandments and so forth, you know that they are very similar to our 5 precepts. Okay, and so that's why we feel no enmity or no threat from them at all, because we know that we're teaching the same thing. We're going after the same thing, goodness of your heart. That's all that matters, okay? You can talk all you want. You can call yourself Catholic, Protestant, Muslim, and so forth, Taoist and so forth, Buddhist and so forth. All that matters is that this spiritual practice will bring you to a state of goodness in your heart, okay? It refines your heart, your nature, so that it gets rid of your evil side of it, or evil components in your character. And what's left is the purity, is the goodness in your heart. Okay, it doesn't matter which religion, but that's what we all shoot for. Buddhism goes a little bit further. Okay, and because of this foundation of goodness, then we're able to tell you the bigger picture. Okay, where here's what happens once you stick around long enough and you enjoy your nature, your goodness nature being refined, okay? You enjoy it, and then you appreciate what the Buddhist teaching is about. Then we've unveiled to you the bigger picture. This is contained in this sutra, Avatamsaka Sutra. And so it describes the universe as the Buddha sees it. Only the Buddhas can see it. We cannot see it. So this is sort of like a family secret, if you will. Okay, this is the path we on, where we go in the direction where we eventually, the Buddha shares his wisdom, his knowledge, his insights, is in the hope that we too will we have the same kind of insights and the same knowledge ourselves. Okay, that's what they call becoming a Buddha ourselves. Okay, meaning that we can all have the same vision, the same knowledge. It's just that we don't know how to develop it. Okay, so the Buddha says, here's how you do it. And in order for you to get there, let me tell you what you're supposed to know. And this contains the sutra here. Okay, the Flower Adornment Sutra. And a particular prologue is a very special teaching from the Chinese. Master Qingliang, and he wrote this treatise here in order to highlight the profound principles that we may miss if we were to read the sutra, the Avatamsaka Sutra, directly ourselves. So therefore, this is very scholarly work. And actually, when I thought about lecturing on the sutra, I said, maybe I skip this prologue. Okay, because people will not like it. People will drop out like flies. Okay, but after like 5-6 months now, you're still around. So I am running out of things to talk about. Please go away. I can't be more clearer than this. Okay, this is too much pressure. But anyway. So this teaching here contains the Buddhist. This is the most profound Buddhist teaching. It is extremely profound, and this is the kind of things that no one else, no other religions can come even close. Okay, so we are sharing among ourselves this profound Buddhist wisdom here. Okay, so. Kudos to all of you for not dropping out. Okay, we are on 13. Using a period of time of no time, there is privation of this place to no place.
以上无时之时，便此非处之处。
Okay, 14. He's discussing here the requisites. What determines a sutra? Why this Avatamsaka Sutra is called a sutra? Because it has some requirements. For example, it was spoken at a certain point in time. And the Buddha says, actually, when you guys see in this world, the sutra being spoken here, after the Buddha became enlightened under the Bodhi tree in India, okay, it actually happened. Okay, contrary to what other people might say about it, actually happened. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas certified that it actually happened. And when he spoke that sutra, Bodhisattvas came to listen. And Bodhisattvas in numbers as many as clouds, endless clouds. So you can imagine the state when the Buddha sat there under the Bodhi tree, and the Bodhisattva came. Countless Bodhisattvas came, and we have no idea how they fit. Each room has capacity. How is it possible you can have innumerable Bodhisattvas coming, and each will bring their own lotus days throne? Me, Bodhisattva, big shot. Okay, so it's so cool. This is a state that is beyond our comprehension. Okay, and so when that was spoken back then, maybe 3,000 years ago, around 3,000 years ago, it actually was spoken. And then the Master Ching says, actually, it's not just spoken here; it's spoken everywhere. Actually, okay, it's spoken everywhere in the universe. Okay, and that's why don't be stuck on this place here. It's spoken. The sutra actually is spoken under the Bodhi tree. Actually, is spoken everywhere, and it's constantly being spoken. That's a concept that surprised me. I thought when I first heard of this sutra, I said, "Wow, spoken once, how wonderful!" But no, actually, the Buddha's, because his teaching is so profound, so important for our emancipation, for our unfolding, our ultimate wisdom. I mean, your ultimate wisdom. Okay, so it's spoken constantly to help us get there quicker. Okay, so it was spoken constantly and spoken everywhere, not just at the Bodhi tree. Okay, so don't be stuck on places. Don't be stuck on time. So this sutra is spoken continuously through time. Okay, and it's spoken everywhere as well. Okay, when you talk about theory or principle, is called the Dharma door of unobstructed interpenetration of time and place in perfect fusion, whatever it means. Okay, so there's no obstruction. Okay, because it's spoken this time here doesn't mean it's not spoken at another time. Because it's spoken here in the Bodhi tree doesn't prevent it from being spoken everywhere else in the universe as well. Okay. And also there is a interplay here. Just because it's spoken here in our sound world at the Bodhi tree at that particular time does not prevent it from being spoken at the same time at another place. Or conversely, or it could be spoken at that time, in the sound world or our world in the Bodhi tree. Okay, in the Bodhi tree. Just because it's spoken there does not prevent it from being spoken elsewhere as well. Okay, so there's no physical restrictions and time restrictions, if you will. This is the state of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay, no limits, no restrictions on time and space. Only the Buddhists would talk about things like this. The other religions would talk about, gains, benefits, fame, and so forth. But here we talk about emancipation in your mind, removing the boundaries in your mind. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. So, when the Buddha became enlightened, is it like he put this world on the map, so to speak? Forgive me, the closest thing I can think of is early in the story of Star Trek, when the human race is trying to get to a certain technological level, and the aliens are kind of watching us, but they don't want to reveal themselves to us yet because we're not quite ready for that encounter.
Episode 54, yeah.
So I wasn't expecting you to know the episode, Master.
I watched the episode. I love Star Trek.
And so when the Buddha became enlightened,
Until Captain Kirk got older.
I always preferred the original
Yeah.
Captain Kirk myself.
Yeah, and the latest one with Jeff Bezos is disappointing. It's like my idol being destroyed in front of my eyes in that capsule. Sorry, it's just sentimental.
Was it like the first time that the bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, and all of the beings that came had visited this realm, or had they come here before?
Shakyamuni Buddha said, that's a good question. Shakyamuni Buddha said in one of the sutras called Brahmana Sutra, that's a sutra that explains about the bodhisattva precepts. He says, I come to this land here, this world here, 8,000 times already. Okay, here's what happens. The Buddhas come and go as they please. They come maybe officially. For example, Buddha says, I will come to this higher world at such a time. And he came here and became Shakyamuni Buddha. And the next Buddha says, I will come next, 16 million years later. And I be called Maitreya. Why? Because I'm waiting right now. I'm waiting upstairs in the Tushita heaven, inner court, waiting for the time to be ripe. What does it mean for the time to be ripe? It's time for him to do his work. Meaning that it's the right time for him to come down to our world from the Tushita heaven and then teach his people, his pupil. So he would. So in the future, as the sutras predicted, they presaged that in the future, Maitreya would come down here in about 60 million more years, if you can wait that long. He will come down here and go through the 8 manifestations, becoming a Buddha. Okay, being born, and then and being bathed by the dragons, the 9 dragons, and so forth. Okay, and then manifesting, living home life, and cultivating the ascetic ways, the extreme ascetic ways, and becoming enlightened under the Bodhi tree, and so forth. Okay, so all those there are 8 manifestations of the Buddhas when they come to our world of how they become a Buddha. Okay. And so every single Buddha, they go through that in our world, okay, in this higher world. Every single Buddha who comes here, okay, will go through these 8 manifestations of becoming a Buddha. Okay, so after the Buddha Dharma disappears and comes back, it's the same thing, the same thing happens again. When Maitreya comes here, it's going to be the same scenario. Next Buddha comes here, same scenario. Okay, but it will be 60 million years later. So they have this prediction already that there are like 1,000 Buddhas who appear in our era, Kalpa, called worthy Kalpa. Okay, that's why Xian is worthy is also the name that this Dharma Sutra hopefully lasts for the entire Kalpa. I think big. You can't blame me for thinking big. So anyway, so the Buddha came here 8,000 times already, not always as a Buddha. Okay, but it could be before, could be as a bodhisattva, could be as an immortal, could be as a king elephant, and so forth. He came here. So this certainly is not the first time he came here to become a Buddha, for sure. Okay, so it doesn't quite put it in a map. It's what you have this concept here is called world or galaxy, as worldly people know it. This galaxy here was created, okay, a long time ago, and it goes through these phases of creation, growth or change. Okay, so it means it's expanding, it's growing, and then or change, and then we go in the state of dwelling or decay, meaning it will stop growing and will start decaying. And then the fourth phase is emptiness, where it actually is destroyed. Okay, so each world goes through those four phases of coming into being, of change, of dwelling, and of emptiness, if you will. Okay, same thing with us. We're born, we grow old, okay, and then we die. So there's a parallel between how the four phases of life for us, as well as the four phases of the world. Every single world has to go through that. Like yesterday, someone asked, how about the Pure Land? They go through these four phases? So yes, okay, every single world, okay, will go through those phases. Okay. And so it's hardly the first time at all, and that Shakyamuni Buddha came here, and he doesn't quite per se put it on the map. He just came here like Maitreya, like past Buddhas, like future Buddhas, because conditions are ideal for him to teach and help them attain the way quickly. More so than if you weren't a Buddha, you teach people, you won't be able to get them become enlightened as quickly as the Buddhas. Because the Buddhas, when he appeared in the world, everything was ideal for that to happen. Whereas now, the conditions are not ideal for us. That's why many of you struggle along the way, and then some of you will go very fast, most of you will go very slow, because conditions are not ideal. Okay? Whereas when Shakyamuni Buddha came here 3,000 years ago, the conditions are ideal, to the point where after he became a Buddha, he came to the deer park and taught the monks. And within one sermon, the first sermon, very quickly, one of his disciples became enlightened. Okay? And not long after that, many of them certified the fourth stage Rahats and so forth. So you see, so Shakyamuni Buddha, in his case, he spent 50 years of his life teaching because it's ideal conditions for him to teach and leave the legacy and the knowledge for our future generations. And when Maitreya comes, he will teach only one day and one night, because Maitreya is very lazy. But he will cross over countless living beings. Okay, so each Buddha come here because they have their own agenda, if you will. It's because it's just like the world, like the moon revolves around the earth. Okay, because of cycles of change there. Okay, so that when conditions are ideal, Buddhas will come to our world and cross over these people, because they made a vow to help them in the past. And those people congregate together at the same place. That's why the Buddha said, that's it. Let's go do it and get it over with. Okay? So each, it's not the first time at all. All right, any other questions? This is something that we learning about this universe is way beyond our scientists or our telescope can possibly see. We just simply see that they're infinite out there. Space is like only Captain Kirk has gone the furthest of all of us in Star Trek. Okay, and we need to depend on him. On how he sends back these messages. He says, hey, I encountered this planet here where they're so backward, actually very advanced. They disguise themselves because they don't want because then they can keep an eye on us so that we behave, okay, and so forth. And so this world here that we are discovering is from the eyes of the Buddhas, not the eyes of Captain Kirk in our world. Okay, so this is a treat for Buddhists. 15. Furthermore, some say the sutra was spoken in an impure land because he dwelt in Magadha and so forth.
然有言，此经在秽土说，居摩羯等故。
All right, 16. Some say the sutra was spoken in impure land. Okay, so we are discussing where the sutra was spoken, and true to his nature, Master Qingliang is very academic, very scholarly. He discusses everything to death. Okay, but that's a chance for us to peek into the kinds of details that's kind of entertaining, if you will, that to talk about, but don't get a big head, because in our world, this is we cultivate in order to prepare to absorb this kind of information. Okay, but sometimes it's fun to talk about it. Okay, so he says, where is this Flower Adornment Sutra? Was it spoken? It was spoken in 7 places and 9 assemblies. All right, and so in our Saha world, okay, one of the 7 places is the Bodhi tree, where he first became enlightened, became a Buddha. And he says of these occasions, these assemblies, 5 assemblies were among the humans, 4 assemblies were in the heavens. Okay, so however, so when you go into the sutra, the actual sutra says some of the chapters are spoken in different places. Okay, so some say that this Buddha actually was spoken in the pure land of Saha, our Saha world, because he dwelt in Magadha and so forth. Now, there's a concept here, Buddhism, about how the universe is composed of. The universe has endless, countless, infinite number of galaxies, if you will. Each galaxy is in Buddhism called Buddha land, because each galaxy has a host, a teaching host. Our world, Saha world, okay, was created by Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, so he created these Buddhas. They create these worlds or these lands, Buddha lands. And that's where they can gather the people that they want to cross over. They want to help. Okay, so we are among those people that Shakyamuni Buddha wants to help, whether you believe it or not. I said that's a cool thing about it. It's not like the Buddha created this world and said, "Oh, you all have to become Buddhists." Not at all. Okay, you all can become. Some of you are Catholic, some of you are Christian, some of you are Mormon, and so forth. It's perfectly okay. But the Buddha says, I'm going to gather all of you here because this is the best place for you to get my help, okay, where I can protect you and I can guide you along the way, okay? So if you will, it's anarchy. It is total freedom, okay, of being yourself without any mold. Does it make sense? You don't need to be a Buddhist in order for Shakyamuni Buddha to help you. You don't even need to like him in order for the Buddha to help you. Because you're here already, so that means he's going to help you regardless. It's what's so cool about it. You don't believe him? You say, I believe in God, I believe in Allah, and so forth. Buddha says, no problem, I will still help you. That's how all-embracing Buddhism is. What matters is your ultimate liberation, your ultimate happiness. Who cares how you describe yourself? Don't be so narrow-minded. I must be Buddhist. Otherwise, you guys, the rest of you are inferior. You should become Buddhist. That's baloney. There's no such a thing. You can be who you are. Be all you can be. Okay. Yes. 9. Yeah, sounds German, doesn't it? 9.
So I was talking to my brother today, and he was saying that every person from a specific political preference who supports a specific presidential candidate should be punched in the face. and I said, I disagree with you. I think, the world should be founded on freedom, and people should be free to make their own choices. And he said, yeah, I should be free to punch them in the face. I said, I really think, the Buddha made the world to have ultimate freedom and complete cause and effect consequences that are very accurate in this impure world for a reason, right? Because
You're asking me, you're telling him. Are you switching back to talking to me or talking to your brother?
I'm asking you now, right? So
you went from talking to your brother, now talking to me.
Well, I didn't say that to him. I just said, I don't agree with you. And, he tried to get an argument with me, but I just didn't want to argue with him.
Son, you need to have transition. You understand transition?
Yeah.
Like Master Shema talks Dharma, you cannot tell who he's talking about. Now we Westerners, what he's talking about. Okay? Transition. Mise en scène. Where are we?
So Shakyamuni Buddha made the impure world with perfect cause and effect, and for us to have complete freedom. And in the Pure Land, we don't have. Do we have complete freedom? Like, does cause and effect work in the same way, or is that just a specific consequence of being in the impure land?
It's the same cause and effect everywhere. The laws of cause and effect is true universally. Wherever you are, whatever cause you plant, you can have the corresponding effects, corresponding consequences. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not the Buddha who created the law. It's just the universal law that the Buddha observed. That is consistent throughout the universe. Okay? Yes, back there. 1.
Master Alfonso said, I had a dream where I transcended time and space. I realized that past, present, and future are happening at the same time. All that is the present moment. Is it like that, Master Emitofuo?
Congratulations, you become a Buddha. Okay? If it's true, then you become a Buddha already. If you have to ask, then you're not a Buddha. Meaning that it's hallucination for you. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to learn how to be more polite. I'm blunt, okay? Because my master never taught me how to speak Dharma. It's all his fault, okay? It's not the experience he describes is hallucination. It's just imagination. That's what your mind can do to you. It plays tricks to you. It's so real to you. I'm sorry. This is the truth. Okay? Your mind is so powerful that its imagination is wonderful, if you will. That's why you can create music and create, masterpieces. Okay, if you let it go, you learn how to let it go. Okay, where were we? I don't think so. My short answer is I don't think so. Dream on. Okay. For you to see past and present and future all merged together, you got to be a bodhisattva. Okay, more likely a Buddha. Yes, so you argue with your brother. and you say he's wrong, okay? And what did he say? He wants to shoot you?
No.
Can we transition back to that talk and see how it ended? Did you kill him? You hear. So what happened to him?
He's at home.
Oh, nothing violent happened.
No. No. I don't remember how it ended. I think we started talking about something else.
Well, when you talk to people, come on. I mean, you should be more open-minded than that. When you talk to people, can we agree that we shouldn't try to convert people into our way of thinking?
Well, I
Can we do that?
I didn't talk to him about Buddha or anything. I just said I think people should be free to believe whatever they want, and whether it's right or wrong.
Was he asking for your opinion, or he just simply stating his opinion?
No, he wanted to have a conversation.
You want to have a conversation?
Yeah, he always does that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Then speak nonsense to him. It doesn't matter.
I wasn't trying to prove a point or anything. I was just talking to him.
All right, good.
But I have a.
Then why are you trying to make a point here now?
No, I was trying to ask you something else.
Oh, excuse me.
So I was at my friend's house, and his mom was watching something about.
We'll transition back to another place.
Yeah, this is This is like almost 6 months ago.
And another time. Okay.
It was a long time ago, yeah. And so I was at my friend's house, and his mom was watching something on near-death experiences, and this guy was like an expert on it, and he had talked to a lot of people who experienced near-death experiences, and he said that like every single one of them, this is like 100% of them, said that they had the same experience. They walked through like a bright light, and there was like an angel there or something there, like a light being who was there to greet them. And what they did was they experienced their whole life from a third-person perspective. Mm-hmm. And like they said there was no time, and there was like it was like no time. They experienced the whole entire life in a third-person from a third person.
It happens a lot. I mean, that part I hear. I don't know about you, but actually it happens to me too. When I was near death, at some point in time, my part of my life flashed in front of me. This is way before I became a Buddhist, so it has nothing to do with Buddhism.
Well, the one thing all these people had in common was they didn't actually die. So was it possible that this is actual?
I had the same experience too. I didn't actually die. I was on the verge of death.
So you saw your whole life from a third-person perspective?
Not necessarily third person. It's just like a movie. It's just like that. It's so cool.
So is that what
things you forgot, and you say, "Oh wow, I was really bad, wasn't I?" Francis. Yeah.
Is that what happens when you die?
I don't know. Who cares? If it happens, so what? It doesn't happen, so what? How does it change anything? If you die, whether you have a dream going, of your entire life or not, how does it? Why does it matter?
It's just weird.
Yeah. It's not always the case. Not always people can see the life, unfolding or playing in front of them again. It's not always the case. Okay? But it happens. It happens that people, like your mind plays tricks on you, and it replays from the memory banks. And in particular, I don't know about other people, but for me, I can see why. I love movies. It's such a beautiful artistic medium, that includes music, includes dance, includes, the major arts of our civilization. all put together right there. Okay? And all I have to do is pay $10. Sorry. The last 07 movie is a disappointment. It's not worth $10. Really agrees. I don't know you folks, but it's the last movie of James Bond, Daniel Craig, okay? And I figure I will have to send him away properly. So instead of waiting for it to get to the TV, I decided to go out there and stand in line and buy a ticket and sit there in front of a big screen and have all these sound effects and so that I can properly say goodbye to Daniel Craig. But I fell asleep. It's so boring. Sorry. Yes, one.
Daniel Wisniewski saying so there may be mini Buddhas that haven't learned Dharma in this world? ? The word mini mean that the Buddha like people. They aren't the Buddha, but little Buddhas.
No. There's no such a thing, little Buddha, except in the movies. Okay? I can think of that what's that again? That Harrison Ford movie. Anyway, you guys, so boring. Oh God, you guys are only Americans into sports and whatever. You really are not into arts at all. Jesus, anyway, there's no mini Buddha. There's no such a thing. You're a Buddha or you're Buddha to be. From a Buddhist perspective, you are Buddhas to be. Especially those of you who are tuning in, who are here, you are Buddhas to be, okay? And when you become a Buddha, please don't forget about me, okay? And all I want is a nice red car. Not electric. I hate electric cars. So anyway, so we are future Buddhas because what happened is that the mere fact you're listening, you're tuning in right now, you're listening, you planted the seeds for you to become a Buddha yourself. Okay? Sooner or later. And nothing you can do about it. Maybe that's why Daniel doesn't come here anymore. Okay? All the people who can listen in and listen to this and whatever, they will become Buddhas. Whether they're Catholic, Mormon, or Protestant or whatever. So now you understand why I spent so much money, even when I didn't have money, to invest in all the internet things so that we dump it on the internet and people would just click on it and say, hey, Buddha, Buddha, and they all become Buddhas in the future. Very tricky. Yes. So it's a matter of time. So that's why we call that we all have the Buddha nature. We have a Buddhas to be. Okay? Not mini Buddhas. Mini Buddhas is like a mini me, it sounds disrespectful. Yes, go ahead. Number 4.
Thank you, Master. So is using imagination considered as a false thought then?
Yes. Imagination is using your thoughts. Imagination is thinking. Okay? It's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong using your thinking, using your imagination at the right time. What happened is we use at the wrong time. We cannot control ourselves. We keep on thinking and thinking and thinking endlessly. Every single day, you wake up, you start thinking until you pass out. You cannot stop. Yes. 4.
So I see a lot of artists or musicians going crazy because they think too much. They're into their work. They lose their self-identity, I guess.
Yes, they go berserk. It's true. Okay. However, the creative process, as far as I understand it, if you care to hear my 2 cents worth, okay, the artist is a different world where they need to use their imagination to create, because that's how they relate to us. I don't care what you think, but eventually you have to say, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I see it, and you translate it into a piece of art, a work of art. Okay, so it's the thinking process right there. Okay? Because that thinking there is a description of how they feel, what they see. Okay? So there's thinking process involved in this creation, the creative process. However, where does this inspiration come from? Would you like to know? Where does it come from? Yes, famous musician to be, I'm sorry. You're a musician already, but not yet famous.
I don't know if you were going to say it comes from the heavens or it comes from the Buddhas or something like that, but I've definitely heard some really dark music that could potentially come from the demons as well.
It comes in many places, very good. Sometimes these people have inspiration and they hear heavenly music, okay? They hear music in the ears and they start writing it down. That happens. Sometimes they hear it from somewhere in the mind, in their heart. Okay, it could be from the demons. We don't know. Okay, but I'm telling you about the normal process of creation, of creative process, not about getting aid or getting influenced. The normal creative process is that whether you create music or art and so forth, okay, or piece of art and so forth, and you doing something that's not seen before, that breaks the boundaries, okay? How does it occur? Of course, I'm not an artist. I just have a big mouth. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. My 2 cents is, well, many artists will tell you it's because they're putting their blood on the page, but maybe a cleaner way of saying it is they're able to use their chi and expose their chi that's unique to them.
Okay, very appropriate. Yes, sir.
Master, when I make music, a lot of the time I don't hear it before working on it. It kind of just comes out as a will, and eventually it turns into a finished product.
Okay, very good. It's both. Both of you are right. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, if you're not getting help from someone else, whether it's from the heavens, from the hells, or so forth, we don't know. Okay, it does happen. Okay, but normally, if you want to depend on yourself in a self-contained creative process, okay, here's what happens. You look at the stories of the great artists, okay, whether it's in whatever art you're in, whether it's music, whether it's a painting or whatever, and you find that many of them suffer greatly. They're poor, they are oppressed, they are depressed, they're crazy, okay? All those are descriptions of what they're being very, very poor, and they suffer a lot. They're in great pain. Why is it important? Okay, the great pain has to get to the extreme point. This is why the artists who are poor but are not poor enough, destitute enough. They're only poor. They're lacking. Okay, they're missing in things, but they're not extremely poor. They're not extremely desperate. Okay, because when you get to the point where the suffering here enables them to, when it gets to the extreme, their thinking mind stops. Because they can't take it anymore. They say, I don't give a, I don't care. They let go. They let go, and because of that, the mind stopped thinking. And that's when they get to another realm where they see things differently. Because if it weren't the case, they'd be seeing the same thing as before. Does it make sense? That's what actually happens. Physically, it has to happen that way. Because if they don't change the plane of their thoughts, they will be thinking the same thing. It will know nothing new. Same old, same old. But when they, in the face of extreme suffering, like you are going through right now, you went through right now, the pain from a lack of food and what it does to your body and to your mind is extreme pain. Yes? Look at her. Okay? That's when your mind stops. It says, I am too tired. I don't know. I don't care. Okay? And that's when you go to a different plane. That's what happened to the artists, the creative process. These great artists, like, what's that guy, the crazy guy who cut off his ear to give to his prostitute girlfriend? He fascinates me. Van Gogh, yeah? He fascinates me. He's crazy his entire life. And he gets crazier and crazier and crazier. It doesn't get any better. And that's why his art got better and better and better. Okay? So, because you suffer so much that you stop thinking. And that's how you push the envelope and you cross the boundaries of the norm, of the normal, of the ordinary. Your vision is different. Different plane. You buy that? I'm no artist, but I think that's what happens. I hope the artists will chime in and say, oh, you idiot. What do you know about art? What do you know about creative process? Because the reason, my rationale is that mode, change in mode of thinking, has to be from a different plane. Otherwise, it's not physically possible. And it is induced by suffering. Same thing. You're going through this training here, going back to Chan, the Chan Chi. You go through this training here, and you're suffering. You endure this, what I call controlled suffering, supervised suffering, because it's designed to help you, stop thinking. Now you know. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. I agree with you 1,000,000%, and I've never heard it articulated quite so simply. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, now you can all become very famous artists if you're willing to endure suffering. There's a small price to pay.
I specifically experienced that in college when I would have to write a paper, and I found I couldn't write the paper until I got exhausted.
Yeah, that's when you let go. That's when you cross planes. Okay.
The other example I would give aside from exhaustion, for the professional artist, it's called a deadline.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same as suffering, though. This is something about the human psyche, where when you suffer so much, you have the way to be able to stop your thinking. Because you're so tired. You're so exhausted. You say, no, I don't care anymore. Okay, and that split moment right there is when you shift plane. Okay, it's fascinating to me because I admire the great artists. And I always wondered about how they created these masterpieces. Okay, and because they don't think the same as we do. Okay? So that only happens when you stop thinking. Yes, too.
And I very much appreciate your love for cinema. A common sensibility for filmmakers is, and most likely in the case of No Time to Die that you just recently saw for James Bond.
In the movies? In the theaters?
When you're making a film, no film is ever finished. All films are abandoned.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you being from your background, yeah, right. Yeah, time, deadline pressure.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you just have to walk away, which...
No, I appreciate how they came up with the script and so forth, but I feel it lacks originality. It's too commercialized. Yeah, it's fun, but yes.
I had a lot of friends who were doing drugs and substances to work on art and music, and a lot that still do.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that when I got clean, my music, especially when I started coming to the temple, it got a lot better, and I was able to work on it a lot faster. And it was way higher quality. Also, sometimes when I'm really upset, I make music. I'll make something and it's really good, right? It's some really good stuff I made, and I feel way better after that. Even if it was like a negative song or something, it felt like I got the emotion out and put it into the song, and it sounded really good.
Absolutely. Yes, one.
Master San Jose Daniel say, Master, the best gangster rap comes from artists who I know for a fact live what they rap about. I love the ambition, the pain, and the realness. My question is, what's wrong with me listening to the super gangster rap?
Nothing wrong with it. If it turns you on, why not? It's a free country. Don't listen to whatever. Just because I like or dislike something doesn't mean that you don't have to do it or do it. I mean, hey, I'm just a big mouth. I just talk. Don't take me seriously. It's the politicians that make a difference. We just nonsense. Yes, he's very talkative tonight, number 9.
Yeah, Masters. So I also listen to a lot of really dark music that you can tell that the people who made it are really suffering. But the thing is somehow it's just better. I don't know why, but it's better, in my opinion, than a lot of the cut of the mill stuff, and it's more creative. And I heard one time that people who are more depressed are more creative because they use the creativity as an escape. So they
Yes.
That's why they're more creative.
Yes. You can go from on the good side as well from the evil side. It works. It's just that you have to come from different perspectives, that's all. Stop being judgmental. It's just a creative process. Okay? It is what it is. Stop judging. I mean, it's just music. If Daniel San Jose loves, violent crime, hip hop and rap and music and whatever, that's him, And then after that, you should go get a new tattoo. Say, hey man, this is a dedication to that beautiful song. Why not? I mean, I won't judge. Okay, so I started by telling you that the world has the Buddha lands, or called the world, and the universe or Dharma realm it has infinite number of worlds. Okay, because there are infinite number of Buddhas. Each world is created by a Buddha. And so that's why our world is created of Shakyamuni Buddha to help us, people like us. And infinite number of other worlds are also created by other infinite number of Buddhas in order to help different kinds of living beings. Okay? So that's how it works in the universe. The Buddhas, they become Buddha because they created this environment in order to help us. Okay? And within this world here, you have Buddhists and non-Buddhists. And some Buddhists say, I believe in Buddha. Some non-Buddhists say, I don't believe in Buddha. And the Buddha says, it's okay too. And this, regardless of what you say or believe, you will become Buddhist too. That's why you're here. Call yourself whatever. Doesn't matter. You will become Buddhas. Yes. That's the ultimate Buddhist trick on people.
Diego Alfonso say, gangsters of the way, the middle way.
The middle way. Okay, so you have, yes, go ahead, Conk. Sorry to keep you waiting for so long.
Master, I'm just curious that why doesn't Buddha just erase or kill every living being so then nothing exists? The only Buddha exists, so then no more suffering, no more evil?
No, honey.
I think it sounds more simple than
honey.
save or live.
No, honey. Don't talk like that. You're a nun already. You don't talk like that. People have the wrong impression of us. Buddhas don't kill people. Come on. Okay, honey. Please don't talk like that. Okay. Your 3 visitors will run away. No. Buddhas don't kill. What happened is that when the world comes to an end, some of the people are supposed to die. The Buddha don't kill them per se, okay, honey? Buddhas don't kill. We human beings kill. Buddhas don't kill, okay? Period. So what happened, these people's life will come to an end. Okay, some like typically we die because we're sick, because you're old. Okay, but at the end, at that time, at the end of the world, when the world collapses and disappears, that's a time when all those beings die, supposed to die. The Buddha don't have to kill them. Okay, what the Buddha does is that he does a few things. He says the people who are not supposed to die. Okay, meaning good people. By the way, the evil people will die. The good people will not die. Okay, some of the good people are, for example, 3rd stage arhats who live in the heavens. They're not going to die. They'll be moved. They'll be moved to a different world temporarily. So therefore, if you will, they will move to, oh, good Lord, I hate to say it, Florida. Okay, they move temporarily to Florida, or Korea, or something like that. Eventually, when the new world is created, they move back to California again, where they belong. Okay? Or Vietnam. I forgot. It could be Vietnam too. I don't know. But the point here is that, so temporarily, the people who are supposed to die will die, and many of them are supposed to die. Many are supposed, at that time, they're supposed to die, period. That's when their life ends, okay? And whereas the other people who's not time for them to die yet, they moved to a different world temporarily, waiting for the new world, that world to be reformed, regenerated, Genesis again, okay? As the Christian, the Catholic likes to call it. We don't care. Call whatever you want. It's going to be regenerated, okay? And then we move back to, hopefully, better accommodations. Yes?
There's 2 questions on YouTube. One, Diego asks, Master, after the Saha world is destroyed, will Shakyamuni Buddha create another world?
Yes.
Second question from Daniel. So third state arhats and beyond are somewhat immortal?
No, they're not supposed to die yet. That's why they're not immortal. They will die eventually too. But they're at the end of the world, okay, when this Saha world is created, it will be destroyed. So that then, since they're not supposed to die, they'll be moved. The Buddha's power will move them to a different world temporarily. And he didn't disclose which world, so we cannot buy real estate there, okay? So we don't know. So it's a top secret, state secret. So we move to a different world, and then this world here will be destroyed, okay? And then go through regeneration process. That's all. And then after it's ready, and then they move back. All right? So the Buddha doesn't have to kill people. He's just supposed to die. That's all. Okay, Xian Kong. The farting is getting any better? I'm looking as she's deciding to on the proper answer. The COVID Omicron now. Omicron thing is pretty bad right now, and I think it's overtaking a Delta variant. Apparently, they expect to take over, and it's spreading very quickly right now. It's very scary, and I share your concern. Okay, and it seems like this thing is taking forever. Okay. And it's unfortunate. I wish that people would learn Chan, and we don't have to go through all this thing here. Okay, but anyway, it's nothing we can do. It's called common retribution, where this virus here is here because of how common karmas we're supposed to suffer together. Okay, I suffer too, even though it doesn't affect us as much, but we suffer too indirectly. We may not be sick, we may not have to go to the ICU and so forth, but the fact that so many people are suffering, are getting hurt, getting infected, and dying, that creates the fear and the panic on the entire world. Okay, and that's the most damaging part about this virus. It's not that it's as deadly, for example, as cancer and so forth, okay? But it is a lot more dangerous in the sense that it instills fear and panic in all of you in particular, and also makes these mental illnesses become more prevalent. Like people have more mental issues than before, okay? So it's worrisome. But anyway, so I share with all of you those concerns, and in a very small way, okay, I'd like to remind you that when you come to our way places, it's my personal commitment to you that the COVID-19 will not get you in trouble unless it's your pre-existing conditions. There's not much I can do, okay? But we'll give you enough protection so you don't have to worry about getting infected and getting in trouble. Okay? All right. So if you come to our way places and you go back and you find that you have some symptoms of COVID-19, so on and so forth, please feel free to contact us. We will try to help you. Okay? So far, the last close to 3 years now, the people who come to our way places, they are fine. They have no problems whatsoever. Okay? So it's a small thing that we do for the community so that it's safe harbor here for you. You have nothing to worry about. Okay? Yes, one.
Master, Catholic Daniel asks, when you say bad people will die, is that discrimination?
It is and it isn't. Is discrimination to you? I'm discriminating? It isn't, because I'm not discriminating. There's something called bad people and good people. All right. Okay. So you have the worlds are created by Buddhas in order to teach and transform living beings. But however, the Buddhas have two choices when they create these worlds. They can create an impure world or they create a pure world. Okay, so that's why here it says here, this slide here, 116 here, that this sutra is spoken in impure land called Saha. Okay, so our land is created by Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha, when he became a Buddha, he says, well, let me see. I can have a pure land, an impure land. What do I want to do? So what he did, he says, for all the people I owe, the best environment for them would be an impure land. That's one way to think of it. Why Buddha's created an impure land? Because he says it's an ideal place for all these people. Okay? Or sometimes they say, I do an impure land because then people who come here can improve a lot faster than otherwise. Okay? So those are the two major reasons why you choose to have an impure land. Okay? Whereas Amitabha Buddha, when he became a Buddha, he says, even before he became a Buddha, he says, I want to create the best place possible where people feel safe. And they feel that because the people who come here, they want a guarantee that they will become a Buddha. You have no more regression, So that's why he created this world called the Western Bliss Pure Land, where people get there and they are free from suffering, they're free from pain, hunger. Fasting Dharma doesn't exist there, by the way. You go to Western Bliss Pure Land, you come to Amitabha Buddha and ask, Master, I came from Way Mountain Temple, and I love the fasting Dharma there. Can I fast for 9 days? Amitabha, say what? Go back to the Sahara world. We don't do that here. Okay? So that's what happens. So in a Western Bliss Pure Land, there's no such a thing as fasting because you're not supposed to suffer. It's fantastic. You don't hate anyone anymore. No one. Okay? Yes. Go ahead too.
Thank you, Master. Maybe it's because I'm so used to the Saha world that seems really confusing.
Steve, confusing? What is confusing?
Because the purpose of going to the Pure Land is to become a Buddha.
Yes. In one lifetime. His Pure Land, you become a Buddha in one lifetime. That's it. Guaranteed.
And you're saying you don't have to suffer to do it?
You don't have to suffer. It's confusing to you?
Yeah.
You love suffering?
No.
Then the Western Bliss Pure Land is for you. Precisely.
But it's so... That part is so counterpoint to what we experience in this world.
That's why it's called Pure Land. Impure land is a land where you have a lot of suffering. That's why it's called impure. Because it's impure because we have these bad thoughts. Thoughts of greed, thoughts of anger, thoughts of stupidity. That's why they're called bad thoughts, and these bad thoughts create suffering. The suffering is self-imposed.
So,
They're not from someone else, it's from us. We create our own suffering. We ask for it.
So, if I'm able to get to the Western Bliss Pure Land, which is my intention, when I cross my legs there, I won't suffer?
No, absolutely, no pain whatsoever. Now he wants to go to Western Bliss Pure Land. What a wimp.
When my wife also gets there,
then it's suffering. For her.
herein lies the paradox. So, but really to me it seems, I don't know, like the reason I cross my legs is because it's hard and I can't do it. That's my competitive spirit. It just feels a little bit like...
Absolutely. And that's the difference between the Saha land and the Western Bliss Pure Land. The Saha land is that we suffer here. But what happens? It's called Saha because we can endure it. Okay? We are capable of enduring it. That's why we're here. Okay? The Western Bliss Pure Land is that those beings there, they cannot endure it. They can't take it. They're wimps. I mean, they're big shots too, but they're wimps. I mean, you know what I mean? You don't want to offend these people, okay? And the last thing I want to do is offend the future Buddhas, okay? When they become Buddhas, oh, look at that big mouth guy. Let's let him have it, you know? But it's a different kind of environment. I'm glad you asked this question. This is why there's a distinction between Pure Land and impure land, okay? In the impure land, it's full of suffering, okay? And because of suffering, okay, then if you can endure it, you can progress a lot quicker. High risk, high return. In other words, high suffering, higher return. Yes, one.
Diego asked, Master, so the thoughts of greed, anger, and stupidity comes with the being born inside a world package?
Yes, absolutely. Look at yourself. So, and then in the Pure Land, it's totally different. In the Pure Land, you have no thoughts of greed, no thoughts of anger, no thoughts of stupidity. Okay? So, life is smooth sailing. It's like you're being pushed by the wind, and you get there in time. Okay? Because the Buddha, not only are you being pushed, but the Buddha also guides you as well. So he shields you from all this mess. Okay? Everything is wonderful, so that you simply follow along. That's why you naturally will get there. However, in our world, it's totally different. Our world is that the only way for us to get there is through enduring suffering. That's the best way, that's the fastest way possible, is to endure suffering. Because that suffering there, enduring the greed, the anger, stupidity, your own, and concubines. Okay? So everyone is full of greed, anger, stupidity. So we are actually messing each other's up. Okay? So that's why not only are we suffering from our own deeds, but also from the others as well. That's the nature of this world. That's why it's overwhelming. We are overwhelmed by our own suffering, and also by our own mother's suffering. Because, you know, when mother is unhappy, what happens? The whole family is unhappy. The whole temple is unhappy. You know what I mean? Okay, no one is spared. Okay, so the suffering is a nature in impure land, and that's why the Buddha came and he said, "I created this world of suffering so that I can teach you how to use suffering in order to become a Buddha faster." Look, the Buddha became a Buddha in several years, very fast, okay? Whereas you go to the Pure Land, it will take you a lot longer to become a Buddha. That's a difference. That's why you have to choose which one, okay? So that's why, in all truth, in all honesty, Okay? It's not simply clear-cut about you go to the Pure Land and you don't ever come back to the impure land. It's not true. You use both. The world is like that. For example, let me explain to you why both. Okay? First of all, also I want to share with you this news as well. One of our people here who never showed up in our temple, who never talked to me and so forth, just listened to everything on video or whatever, never called, talked to me at all. And he decided his mother was passed away, and he was in great pain for many years, and he says, what can I do for her? And he says, he listened to our Pure Land Dharma talks, and he says, sounds like a good place for her to go. So he decided to get our help to bring her to the Pure Land. Okay? And so, after 49 days, the service, she made it to the Pure Land. Okay? And he said, so he emailed us and he says, for the last 49 days, I heard about the talk. I said, I'm supposed to create blessings to help her go to the Pure Land. So I have not been eating meat. I've been having a good life and trying to control my evil urges. Okay, so what else can I do? It's nearing the end. What else can I do to help her get there? So I emailed back through Master Xianjie, and I said, she's in the Pure Land. So I didn't even know what he was doing. He just said, she's in the Pure Land. So he said, wow, this is the greatest news I've heard for many years. This is fantastic. And the fantastic thing I want to share with him, I don't know if ever gets his ears or not. Okay, and don't email him because we're done. What's fascinating is I look at that, and when I look at the email, I say, wow, look, the mother. I don't know if she ever got a chance to send a message back to him and she's okay and she's doing well. But I look at her and say, wow, she's in the Pure Land. She's full of love and gratitude for her son. There, control yourself. My point being that we're still connected. They care for us. They get there and say, I get here and I forget about you. Okay, goodbye. I'm fine now. I'm happy. And goodbye, husband. I don't care for you anymore. I'm going to find a new husband, new king and so forth. No. You know what I mean? Pure Land people are not like that. Okay? They get there and say, oh, wow, my son. I got here because of my son's love for me. Oh my God, what a special son I have. He saved me from further suffering. And she's so grateful, and her heart is full of love for him. It's so touching to me. Okay? And it makes you feel good. One of the few rare moments of the month where, no, not the month. It sounds wrong. Anyway, my point here is this. You look at that story, that woman there, the lady there got there and said, okay, I owe to my son. Okay, I owe his love. You know what's going to happen? She's going to come back and try to save him whenever she can, as soon as she can. Think about it. So you still have connections here. It's not like you go forever. So my point here is that people go back and forth. It's not the end of it. That's why sometimes you go to the Pure Land so that when you are ready, the Buddha says, okay, you're ready and your son is ready. Let's send you back and take care of your son. Take care of your mother, who's a non-believer. You know what I mean? Because if you leave it to her like that, she'll keep on suffering. Well, the way she's been this way is not going to change. So you better come back and save her. Okay? So the connection is still there. So, so at some point in time in your career, you want to go to the Pure Land. And I recommend you go to the Pure Land. All of you, go to there first. Okay? Go there. Do not hesitate. And then Amitabha Buddha will decide for you. You don't decide for yourself, you idiots. You're a bunch of idiots. You don't know what you're doing. Don't trust yourself. Trust the Buddha. Buddha says, you're ready. Now your husband, your ex-husband now is a king. You can go back and be the concubine. The kind of thing. And then you talk him into going to the temple. Okay? And then praying to the Buddha and eventually go to the Pure Land with you. Okay? So that's how it works. When the time is right, you're there. When your time is right, when it's safe for you, ideal for your connections to be saved, you'll be sent back to save them. Then you come back to the Pure Land again. So it's back and forth, back and forth. So do not burn bridges. You understand? You have to be nice to everyone. Because next time you come back, the one you hate could become your king. And instead of loving you, he will punish you. Okay, so that's the interplay between Pure Land and impure land. You see that? So they're both important. Okay? But again, go to Pure Land first. Okay? Don't stay here. It's too dangerous here. Because it's a very delicate thing here. Being in impure land, it's very delicate. You do it wrong, and most of us do it wrong. That's why it's called impure land. You cannot depend on yourself. That's why it's impure. You're impure, and you depend on an impure person? Come on, wake up. Okay, that's why you go to the Pure Land first, and let the Buddha help us. That's the two types of worlds, Pure Land and impure land. That's how you need to understand how you use them accordingly. Okay, so don't burn bridges. Okay, don't say I'm going to go Pure Land at the end of this lifetime. I don't care. All right. 17. Others say the place of speaking was a Pure Land because it was in a flower treasury.
有云，处净度说，在华藏故。
And so you look at a macro scale, is the sutra is spoken in the flower treasury anyway. Therefore, it's a Pure Land. Okay. It's a lot of intellectual discussion here, and that's how the great master is. He's fantastic. 19. Still, others speak the doctrine of true suchness and say the two kinds of lands have no fixed differences of place. For in one place there are differences of seeing and hearing.
有云，如实义者，二种身度无定异处，即于一处，见闻异故。
19. He says, this Flower Dharma Sutra here talks about true suchness. Okay, this is the universe called true suchness, the state of Buddhahood. Okay, a state of the entire Dharma realm. Okay, and therefore. Because it's spoken in this entire universe, and therefore you should not distinguish between Pure Land versus impure lands. Okay, and the difference is how people see it. So meaning that there's either you see it spoken in a Pure Land or spoken in Pure Land, because people discriminate. That's all. So it's a lot of intellectual discussion without any important consequences. It's just intellectual stuff. 21. of the three preceding doctrines, the last one approaches latter our school.
上知三义，后依净宗。
So it says, stop discriminating whether Pure Land, Impure Land, and so forth. Okay, it's spoken in a land. Okay, you can look at you look at the big picture. There's no differentiation between Pure Land versus Impure Land. They're basically expedients. Okay, for the big picture is to help you become Buddhas. Okay? Yes, 9, because I told you there's a connection, right? You are in the Pure Land, but actually eventually you'll be moved back to the Impure Land temporarily in order to save the people you want to save. And once you're done, you move back. You see? Back and forth, back and forth. Okay? So there's no need to distinguish between the two because you are still cultivating, you're still on the way to become a Buddha regardless. Does it make sense? That's a big picture. Yes, one.
Derek Chin asks, Master, how can I get rid of my hatred in the Saha world?
Your hatred in the Saha world, hate some more until you have no more hatred in your heart. I'm a person who advocates and you should be true to your animalistic instincts. You want to kill, go kill. I mean, no, not kill bad people. No. I don't know. How can you get rid of the anger? I don't know. What do you think? What the Buddhists like to do, I don't know about the rest of you. What the Buddhists like to do, and Sean might disagree with it, is to meditate. When you meditate, you are quelling your anger. That woman there used to be very angry. The chef in the back there, who sits in the back of the bus, okay, she used to be very angry. And look at her now. Yeah. And eventually, Yipche will be like that too. When she gets there, Yipche will say, anger? What is anger? Okay? So, everyone loves my kimchi. So, okay. So the anger, there are many ways to deal with anger in Buddhism. The practical way is that it's very, very simple. You meditate and you cross your legs. The longer you cross your legs, the less angry you become naturally. That's the one thing that worked for a lot of people. Sometimes it didn't work because some of them got angry at me for telling them to cross their legs. Today I tell them to cross their legs and inflict pain and suffering upon them. So it doesn't work. But when I disappear, then it seems to work. Okay. So yes, the meditation helps, and also when you meditate a little bit more, or when you are more emancipated, less fool yourself, then you develop compassion. Compassion is the antidote to anger. Instead of having anger, directing your anger towards someone because someone is making you unhappy, okay, stopping you from getting what you want, not giving you what you want, that's why you're angry, okay? You have to realize that person is suffering. And you don't need to add more to their suffering. You're getting angry at them will not help them. Actually, it will make it worse for them. So that's why you begin to develop this mind of compassion. Okay? You should look at it from a proper perspective, then compassion arises. When you look at it from a wrong side, then anger is fueled. That's all. That's the difference. The only difference is that you look at it from the wrong perspective, that's all. So anger actually, overall, ultimately, anger is very conducive to your developing your wisdom. Because you look, instead of angry, you look from the other side and you see that, wow, he's behaving this way. It's because he's suffering so much. She's suffering so much, otherwise she's so angry, okay? And that's why you say, well, how can I punish someone who's suffering so much already? They have some compassion, embrace the suffering. Okay? So that's why, in general, in Buddhism, there are two major ways to deal with anger in that way. Okay? Brute force way is to meditate and endure the pain in particular. Okay? When you endure the leg pains, the way we train you, it's a much quicker way to undo your anger than otherwise. I noticed that. The people who are glutton for punishment, they are not afraid to endure the leg pains, the anger dies down so quickly compared to the others who are not as gung-ho about it. I've been witnessing this for 15 years now. Okay? So at your own pace, if you go slow, your anger will slowly die down. You go fast, then your anger dies down a lot faster. Okay? And then we get to the point where eventually you'll be taught about compassion. Okay? All right. Any other questions? And actually it works, it works because I heard of a mother is telling me recently, he says, and this lady here has been pushing herself. She's like a glutton for punishment. Every sit is like so much pain for her, okay? And for some reason, she keeps on pushing the pain. And for normal people, say, enough is enough, every day. And she keeps on pushing and pushing and pushing. And in spite of the fact we claim, like Xian when she teaches meditation, she says, don't worry, about an hour and a half, the pain will stop. And some of them, it never stops. But for some people, they're not afraid. They keep on pushing and pushing. They're crazy. And what happened is that I observed this. This is so interesting. What I observed is that, okay, these people who push themselves like that, the anger dies down so quickly. It's incredible how quickly they get rid of the anger. Okay, because they're willing to confront the pain and they're not denying the anger. Some people, the anger doesn't die down because they say, I'm not angry. What are you talking about? I'm going to kill you, but you never know I'm going to kill you. I'm underhanded. But no one knows except me and Master. It's okay. Okay. So the recipe is, again, I advise you to practice meditation, our style, if the anger bothers you so much, and embrace the anger and face the anger more and more. And then the pain, face the pain more and more. The anger dies down. Okay. And for example, this lady here, the kimchi lady here, she's usually very angry. The first 2 years she came to me, I saw so much anger, so much fire, that I wouldn't dare touch her. I said, she's going to bite my head off. Okay? But, as she persevered and faced her training, go through the training, the anger, the fire anger dies down a lot. So now she only picks fight with certain people, not everyone. Yes. 6.
질문, 뭐지? 잠깐.
She forgot already.
질문.
Senility meditations are not going to help. Never mind. Look at Jewel Mountain Temple. I think they're ready for bed or something. Look at them. They put two of the mats together, and I think as soon as we done, they will lie down and do lying meditation. Look at them. They're ready already. Look at that. I mean, that's preparedness. I'm impressed. And the heater is right there, very warm and very, very cozy. You know, it's very cold right there right now. Huh? All right. We're complaining it's cold here, but look at them, look at them. That heater is all full blast. And then, that's hard. I mean, okay. Did you have to say something, huh?
퀘스천이었는데요. 말씀하신 대로 저한테 화를 내고 부정적인 에너지를 쏘는 사람들 한테서 이제 그들의 아픔이 보이긴 하는데 저도 상태가 나쁠 때는 같이 좀 파이터가 돼가지고 마스터께서 말씀하신 게 됐다 안 됐다 하는 게 지금의 제 상태인데 지금의 제 수준에서는 무엇을 더 해야 자비로울 수 있는지 그러니까 불이 났는데 더 기름을 붓지 않을 수 있는 게 무엇인지를 질문하고 싶습니다. 상욱스님 너무 어렵나요?
상욱스님 안 들립니다. We cannot hear you.
Oh, Sang-wook fell asleep.
We cannot hear you.
Try again? Okay.
Okay, I can hear you.
I saw people, sometimes I saw the suffering in the people who got angry at me. But when I'm not in good condition, I also want to fight with them. So could you give me some advice to me? What should I do to become more compassionate in my situation?
Change what? I see nothing wrong. You're a concubine. You're supposed to fight. Be yourself. It's very simple. When she fights with you, beat her up. Then she will never dare fight you again.
정말요? 정말 하고 싶은 대로 해도 될까요?
Is it okay to be myself?
To what?
Is it okay to fight?
Is it okay to fight? Well, you fight regardless of what I say, so why do you have to ask me? Just don't fight, that's all. But you like to fight. You don't listen, you don't like to fight, so just be yourself. It's okay. Okay. Yeah. You too self-centered. You should look at people's suffering. You only look at your own. You don't look at other people's suffering. What makes a person different is to be able to see other people's suffering. You know, life is hard. Life has a lot of obstruction. It has a lot of problems. You suffer a lot. You endure this suffering. All this suffering training is because it helps you make a choice. You don't like to suffer when you go through this process. And therefore, why would you want to make other people suffer. It's a lesson. You don't like the suffering, then others don't like it either. And therefore, if you understand that, then you should avoid making other people suffer. But that's simple. It's a moment you need to wake up and say, I hate this. This is so much pain. This hurts so much. Okay? And I would not want this to happen to anyone except my husband. Okay? So you said, so that's one side of this training here, that's what happened to me. I suffer really so much. I was in great pain, everything, and there's no end in sight. And I chose. What do I choose? I said, if I get out of it, I survive this, then for what reason? If I survive this process here and I become bitter and angry at the world, that no one cared for me, no one gives a damn whether I die or live, then why is the point me surviving? Okay? Then if I live, it's for a reason. I go through this process for reasons in order for me to rise above it and make sure that my suffering, that people don't suffer as much as I do. That's the choice you have to decide for yourself. I'm teaching you that. I'm putting you through all this process so that you decide for yourself. It's so unpleasant. Why would you want to make anyone go through this? Because you yourself don't want it. That's why you forgive. Instead of making other people suffer, you just forgive them. And suffer for them instead. That's what makes you a special person. But if you're like the rest of the world, where you say, no one gives a damn about me, and I have nothing, no one gives me, anything, no one gives me a helping hand, and so forth. Okay? Then you're just like them. You should rise above yourself, your petty self, and say, I go through this process. I survive because I can become a better person, not because the same old person as before. Because if I don't change, then I will continue to suffer the same way I did before. In order for my suffering to stop, I have to change. Okay? And the first change is for you to not wish this on anyone else. Therefore, you must forgive them. Because they didn't forgive you. It's okay. They're being themselves because they haven't suffered yet. But when you suffer the extreme like this, then you decide, I can be a better person. So it's a moment of revelation where you transcend your petty self. And that's how you become happier. If you don't change, you continue to harbor the hate, the anger in your heart, you will continue to suffer. And you will keep on going through this and this. But next time you fast, you're going to suffer again. Next time you fast, suffer again. Until one day you wake up. Then you're free. But until then, fast longer. Suffer more. That's the difference between good and bad people. Good people see their own suffering. That's why they don't want others to endure the same suffering they went through. That's called good people. Good people are not the people who do charity work. That's easy. They give someone food, give someone clothing, it's easy. You give once and you forget about it. And you're done. You go back to yourself. The good people are the one who dare go through this training and suffer so much and say, I can be a better person. Because I know what suffering does to me. I don't like it. And if others have to go through what I go through, then it's too much. I'm lucky I survived. Others cannot. Others who are weaker than me kill themselves, throw themselves in front of the bus, disappear, run away from the world because they can't take it. I survive because I'm stronger. I'm luckier. So it behooves upon me, and now it's up to me to do a little bit to relieve the pain and suffering in this world in my own small ways. Then my life has meaning. Because I've been suffering, because I am just being my selfish self. I only think of myself, think of my own suffering. I need to change. I need to think about how others suffer and forget about my suffering for change. That's how you become a better person. That's how you can make a difference in this world. That's what life is about. If you keep on indulging yourself, there's no end to it. You will suffer endlessly. And the recipe is very simple. The Chinese very, very simple teaching. The liberation is just the opposite. Turn around. Stop being yourself. Stop being so selfish. Stop thinking so much about yourself. Think more about your mother. Think more about your father. Think more about your children. Think more about your wife. Ching. Instead of just thinking about yourself. If you keep on only thinking of yourself, here's what is going to happen to your life. People will only use you. That's it. You feel used and abused your entire life. And you cannot forgive people for doing that to you. When you change, you say, I don't care. I'm going to think of others. You know what's going to happen? Would you like to know what's going to happen? I tell you a secret. For free. Don't trust free things. What's going to happen? People will still use and abuse you. They won't change, but it won't bother you anymore. That's a difference. People will still be the same. They're selfish, they're petty, they're jealous, and all those things. They will not change, but you change. In what way? It doesn't bother you anymore. That's liberation. This is why our students change so fast, because they come here and endure the suffering. Because the more suffering they endure, one day they woke up and say, I want to change. All right? Can we go back to profound principles? Okay, 23, quickly, a few minutes. Actually, the place of speaking of this sutra is such that pure and unclean are non-obstructive, and connection and restriction interpenetrate, each having two sets of 4 predications. Here we go.
然说此经处，尽会无碍，通局交彻，各24句。
24. It says, to tell you the truth, okay? Stop thinking about pure, arguing about pure or impure places, okay? Because it doesn't matter, okay? You can speak in pure places, impure places, okay? It's not a big deal. And connection, meaning that what is the relationship between pure versus impure, okay? Or restriction, the meaning that the connection, I talked about, do not feel that Pure Land and Impure Land are separate. Actually, they are together, okay? They work in unison in order to help you, help your cause, help you become a better person, okay? That's connection between pure and impure. Restriction, meaning that you insist on, I'm going to go back to the impure land because I need to save people, baloney. Or I go to the pure land only because I have enough suffering, okay? Eventually, such foolish people will wake up and stop discriminating, okay? And so you should, the Chan school, we don't use big words like connection and restriction, interpenetrate. It just says, don't discriminate. There's a time for impure, there's a place for impure, there's a time for pure, there's a time and a place for impure. For pure, okay? So stop discriminating. Okay, and because of that, now he breaks down into 4 more different cases. Time is up. I hope you learned something tonight. Only one person nods his head. The rest of you. Okay, well, thank you all, and we'll see you next time.